There's something many women are feeling today, but don't quite know how to explain. It's not just frustration. It's not just confusion. It's a quiet inner conflict. On one side, you've been taught to be strong, independent, self-sufficient, to never rely on anyone, to always have control, to build your own life, your own success, your own identity. And you did. You became capable. You learned how to handle things on your own. You stopped waiting and started doing. But on the other side, there's a part of you that still desires something different, a softer experience, a deeper connection, a relationship where you don't have to carry everything alone. And this is where the tension begins, because the same mindset that helped you survive might be the one blocking you from receiving love. No one really explains this. Instead, you're told you should be able to do both effortlessly. Be independent, but also soft. Be strong, but also receptive. Lead your life, but somehow not lead in your relationship. And when it doesn't work, you start blaming yourself. You think, maybe I'm too much. Maybe I'm too intense. Maybe something is wrong with me. But what if the problem is not you? What if the real issue is that you were never taught how different energies actually work? Because here's the truth. Masculine and feminine energy are not about gender roles. They're about direction and flow. Masculine energy moves forward. It leads, it decides, it controls. Feminine energy receives. It feels, it responds, it allows. Both are powerful, but they don't operate the same way. And when you try to exist in both at the same time, in the same space, something breaks. Because you cannot fully lead and fully surrender at the same time. You cannot compete and deeply connect from the same energy. And this is where many women feel lost today. Not because they are weak, but because they've been living in survival mode for too long. When a woman is constantly in control, constantly solving, constantly anticipating, she becomes exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. And that exhaustion starts showing up in her relationships. She overthinks, she overgives, she tries to fix everything, she struggles to trust. And slowly, attraction fades, connection weakens, and she's left wondering, what am I doing wrong? But the real question is, what energy am I operating from? Because love doesn't grow in control. It grows in polarity, in contrast, in balance. This doesn't mean you have to give up your independence. It doesn't mean you have to become passive. And it definitely doesn't mean you have to accept less than you deserve. It means something deeper. It means understanding that success and love require different versions of you. The version of you that builds a career is not the same version that creates intimacy. One leads, the other connects. And when those roles get confused, everything feels harder than it should. This is why so many high-achieving women struggle in relationships, not because they're not enough, but because they were never shown how to shift, how to move from doing to being, from controlling to allowing, from proving to simply knowing. And that shift changes everything. Because a woman in her feminine energy doesn't need to chase, she doesn't need to convince, she doesn't need to compete for attention. She becomes magnetic, not because she's trying to be, but because she's aligned. She knows her worth without explaining it. She sets boundaries without aggression. She allows connection without losing herself. And most importantly, she doesn't feel the need to control everything because she trusts herself. And when a woman truly trusts herself, she naturally creates space for a man to step into his role, not by forcing it, not by demanding it, but by embodying something different, something that feels calm, grounded, secure. And that kind of energy is rare today, which is exactly why it stands out. So no, this is not about choosing sides. It's not about rejecting independence, and it's not about becoming someone you're not. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that you've been operating in a way that helped you survive, but might not be helping you feel fulfilled. And once you see that, you can start choosing differently. You can still be strong without being hard. You can still be independent without being closed. You can still have standards without losing your softness. Because true feminine power is not loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't fight for attention. It simply exists and is felt. And when a woman reaches that place, she stops asking, "Why am I not being chosen?" Because she understands something deeper. She understands that being chosen is not something you chase, it's something you become. If you're ready to reconnect with your feminine energy and understand yourself on a deeper level, subscribe and start your transformation.